as I said in the last video, we are having some real big issues with the outdoor kitchen. Now the outdoor kitchen itself is looking really awesome. We have made, we've done quite a bit of enhancing to it and some improvements to it, and we're going to get into that here just momentarily. But in the meantime, I'm going to take you guys on a walk around the homestead. I'm going to show you guys what we've been working on these last few weeks. So yeah, so let's go take a walk. So with the summer winding down, the garden is pretty much done. Jen has been working out in the garden, kind of getting things ready for winter. We've started pulling some of our veggies. We're going to put a video out here very soon to kind of walk through how well our garden went this year, kind of our thoughts on it, to revisit, you know, some of the things that we did. What were some of the things that we did well? What were some of the things that we definitely need to work on? And then also we'll share with you what we're going to be doing for next spring. So stay tuned for that video. So one of the things we've been working on these last couple of weeks is improving our firewood shed. Now, we had originally built our firewood shed our first summer, and it has worked flawlessly, and we're very, very proud of it. We can get about 10 cords in there, maybe a little bit more, but it's been awesome. One of the things that we did want to do though is we wanted to do an add-on so that we could split wood without having to worry about being in the elements. And so I built this small shed out of pallets and scrap wood I had laying around. And basically, this is just big enough so I can do all of my splitting under a roof and not have to worry about getting wet or snowed on or whatnot. I used pallets and scrap wood, lots of scrap wood. It might not look like much right now, but I can assure you that I give this thing a good solid shake and it don't move, which is good. Now I was able to use some scrap 2x4 slab wood, but then I also had to do a couple actual 2x4s rough cuts. And then all of these here were all the 1x3s that we had gotten that were extra from the outdoor kitchen. As far as the tin is concerned, the tin we used, it was the extra tin that we had from the outdoor kitchen. And honestly, I love it. I just love it. We've got all of our tools in here and the splitter, obviously. So I got myself a couple of shelves. Got one there. And I got one right there. I just finished this, so I still have some tools out here. Yeah, so we are very, very excited to get to use this, you know, this winter. I think it's going to be pretty awesome. So we'll see. Now I am concerned about this big hole. Truth be told, I'm not looking forward to the snow coming in there. So if it does, which I think it will, we'll probably just put a tarp up or something to cover that window up. Like I said, I used scrap wood to build this and pallets, and you know, but it came out well, and it's built nice. It's not going anywhere. So yeah, can't wait. Now we do have a real big project coming up here real soon, so stay tuned for it. But it does have to do with a Harbor Freight 10x17 garage, and we already have one of them, and it did perform flawlessly during the winter time. We're going to move this though, and we're going to turn this one into an extension of the shop. And then this one here, we're going to build here so we can house some of our equipment. And then if I need to work on it, I can work on it during the winter time without worrying about getting snowed on. So stay tuned for that video, because that video is going to be pretty awesome. I can't really wait to get started on that. So another one of the improvements we've made over the last couple of weeks here is we had a really bad storm, which was actually part of the hurricane tropical storm Fiona that hit Canada. Now we were on the outskirts of it, but we saw 20 to 30 mile an hour winds here, and I got to tell you, This did awesome. The panels have been moved to their fall position, and so they do provide, there is an area that can get hit by the wind. This thing did move a little bit, but nothing crazy. Was not worried about it at all. But what we did notice was, you know, when we built this wall, we had this gap here, and this is not a long-term solution. But what I did is I had an extra ladder, and so I wrapped the tarp around it and stuck it in there. It fit perfect. It made it through that storm unscathed. It's a little loose in here, but I've got one strap here. I think I'm going to put another strap up on top, and then next spring we'll see about doing something a little bit more permanently. But for right now, that's going to work. The other thing that we did is we finally stained the plates on the power shed here. The building is not quite long enough to protect the panels, so we did have to add this windbreak. It's 3 layers of the windbreaking fencing, and it seems to be working great. I haven't had any issues with it, and the panels aren't swaying nearly as much as they were before I put that on, so we're pretty happy about that. All right, moving on. Underneath this big blue tarp is another big project, but one that we have been really looking forward to getting done here on the homestead ever since last year. We'll talk more about that here in a video or two, but it does have something to do with what's in this picture. All right, so we are back at the outdoor kitchen, and as you can see, we did something. Yeah, that's right. We finally added gable ends. So what we ended up using was cedar fencing that we had gotten, and we are actually using this in the cabin for our windowsills and so forth, and the window trim. But we had quite a bit extra, and so we put them up here, and we absolutely love the look. In addition to that, we did get some motion lights up there as well. And lastly, we've got the plates all painted and protected. All right, so that said, we are having a big problem with the outdoor kitchen. It is structurally done. There's a few little things that we're working on, but we do have a big problem. So let me show you what we got going on. So I don't know if you folks know what we're looking at here, but we have been infested by what we have up here in Maine are cluster flies. Now I'm not sure if cluster flies are everywhere. When we were in Illinois, we never had to worry about these at all. But we have a terrible infestation. So it's my understanding what's happening is that as the temperature begins to get cooler, these cluster flies who typically live out in the woods start looking for some place to hunker down for the winter. Now, unfortunately, even though the whole plan with this building has been to leave it open and just put screening on it, unfortunately, that was a shoddy job. It didn't work, and we had to rethink how we did it. So what we found is that the flies were getting in underneath the wall, this wall tin in these little grooves here, and they were also getting in along the entire length of this here, because even though I stapled it in place, it just wasn't, they could squeeze right between the staples. So what we're doing is, So we had to go up and start siliconing around the screening, and most importantly, we had to add silicone up in the cracks here. Now, I had started a little bit here on the inside and realized that this wasn't gonna work. So I actually started working on the outside and started siliconing it from the outside, which is really what we're gonna be working on here in just a minute, because I do still have a small area that I need to finish up. After that, even though we do have, you can see this black wire inside of these larger ridges, unfortunately it's just not enough to keep the flies out. They can wiggle their way through that, and then also in the corners, it's not working the way I had planned. So we're adding silicone into all of those as well. So that said, we do have something very positive here in the outdoor kitchen. We do have a few things that we finished up, so check this out. So we have our shelves and we have our kitchen counters. Now, first thing you might be saying is, oh, that's cool, great, Jason, but boy, is that small. Well, it is small, but we're gonna have our freezers here, and I'm gonna build a larger counter that will roll over one of the freezers, and just stay tuned for that, because that'll be coming up here real soon. We'll start working on that. But in the meantime, yes, we have our shelves set up, and the kitchen counter area all set up. We are pretty excited about using the outdoor kitchen, but again, the cluster flies it has been absolutely terrible. I can't tell you how bad it's been. I mean, thousands of them. And it gets really, really bad, you know, once the sun comes up and it starts warming up in here, then they start coming out of the woodworks, out of all the wood cracks. They just start swarming out, and then we have more coming in from the woods. It has been awful. So we've got to get this fixed, because without getting this fixed, this kitchen is not usable by any stretch of the imagination. So I've got to finish getting all of this stuff sealed up. So that's exactly what we're going to do now. Okay, so we have finished sealing the building off. Honestly, the only way for us to tell is to see if we get any more of these flies. I have a bunch of traps that I've got to replace. We've got these hanging ones, as you can see, they are filled. Same with that one. The other ones that we have are the ones on the windows, and they are filled. We've got a few of those. So I've got to get all these traps replaced, get some new traps out here. We're hoping to catch them before they winter, but I don't know. You know, we'll have to see. So we'll see how many we have in here when that time comes. So the next step now is to get this kitchen cleaned up so we can touch up the paint on the floor and get this thing ready for us to start moving some crap in here. Okay, so we've got everything in the outdoor kitchen out that we're going to be moving out. And so the next step for me is simply to really paint it the way that we did it the first time, and that is just pour some paint on the floor and start rolling it. So it's a little tougher than I thought trying to hold the camera while I paint, so I figured I would just paint. And here we are so far, most of it. We just got this little area here, and then we are going to call the outdoor kitchen done, pending the outcome of our fly situation. So we've got to let this dry. Once this is dry, we'll come in here, we'll replace all of the fly traps, and then we're going to start moving in here. So that's going to be pretty exciting, and we're really looking forward to that part of this project. You know, this outdoor kitchen has taken an enormous amount of time. When I had my surgery and throughout, you know, the time that I was recovering, I really didn't do much out here. So I'm really happy now that I'm feeling better that I can get out here and really get some work done and get this building finished. We have plans for this in the winter time. We're going to do a lot of storage in here during the winter, so getting this done now is critical, especially given the fact that winter is right around the corner. So I got to finish this. I got to finish this floor now.